Welcome to episode 4 of Keys to Buffalo. I'm Lauren Melber,
And I'm Emily Cornwell.
and we are going to just start with I'm hitting you with some rapid fire questions right now.
Okay, let's see.
Elmwood or North Buffalo? Elmwood Village or North Buffalo?
Elmwood Village.
That was just a really competent answer.
Well, it is now. I
I'm
had a
voting
couple
North
extra
Buffalo.
seconds.
Yeah.
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 Well, that makes sense because you
I just
have real
like
estate
it
there.
there. I don't know. I like Elmwood Village too, but I just think it's, I don't know.
What's the difference to you?
Small town girl is
You feel like North Buffalo is more of a small town community vibe
just a little
than
smaller. Yeah, which some people would say not as good, but I just like, I don't know. I think I like the growth and I don't know, it's smaller, so the neighbors are a little more in involved.
you think?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up like going over there, going to Costa's forever and walking Hurdle and Empty Pockets. I think that's where I maybe had my second cocktail in life. So,
Crazy.
yeah.
Um, Snow tires or four-wheel drive?
Uh, I'm gonna pick both. I think that's what I have.
Really?
If you live in Buffalo and you're driving in the city or anywhere, if you can do both, both.
Okay. Barbecue or hot sauce on your chicken wings?
Oh my God, Lauren, these are where do you come up with these questions? Um,
These are
uh,
like typical Buffalo questions.
medium hot
And
sauce.
tell me you're not doing ranch.
No, I do blue cheese. I'm not a big wing girl. Pizza,
Pizza.
pizza.
Have you had pizza in other countries? It's terrible. Even other states. Our pizza's the best.
The pizza in Florida was terrible because the bread's awful and it's the water. We have good water here for good bread, for good
We have
dough, for good pizza.
terrible water here.
We have good water for washing your hair
We
and
have
making some pizza
terrible
dough.
water for washing.
I remember I'd come home and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so refreshed with this
Are
water."
you sure it's the water or is it the air, temperature and humidity? We have things
This
leaching
is not a
into our
chemistry.
river that we are
Oh my
drinking.
God. Okay, can we cut this part out? The
This is
toxins?
this is relevant. If you wanna buy in Buffalo, just be prepared, we're an industrial city.
But the pizza's great.
But the
But
pizza's
the
great.
industrial water.
I'm going with medium hot sauce too, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should be asking you these questions too. So
Thank you. That's
selfish.
okay. I just
What
wanted
else? What
to
else you got?
ice break with some fun.
Loosen. Okay, I needed some of that, I think.
I kinda wanna get into some fun things today.
Okay.
Maybe they're fun for me, maybe not for other people, but I actually did ask a little bit around what people wanted to talk about. Um,
Oh, on your story?
no, I didn't even look after I posted a hamster's butt and said, "What are we talking about today?" You know, keeping it random. House hacking, live in flips, and BRRRR method. A lot of people don't know what that means. They want to invest in real estate, they don't know where to start. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite method or a favorite
Yeah.
place to
A
start?
favorite
Might be both.
place
Same.
to start building wealth in real estate.
Okay, beautiful. Well, when I get to work with first-time home buyers, and depending on their situation, of course, but I do usually cover the benefits of buying as an owner-occupant in a multifamily home, which is any piece of real estate that you buy ends up being an investment, of course, but specifically when it comes to multifamily residences, when you have a tenant that's living in the home that you're also living in, separate units, paying a portion of your mortgage. And then ideally over time, I mean, over time, either way, I'm going to go with 100% of the time, really, you're going to be gaining equity in your real estate investment just because of the market conditions in Buffalo and Western New York. That's what we're looking at. Additionally, if you go in and you're doing improvements to that property, you can build more equity in a shorter amount of time, and you can eventually use that to purchase maybe a single family home or another multifamily home. So, is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're thinking real estate wealth, you're thinking 4 major ways that you can or a reason to buy an investment property. Um, Capital buy down, tax shelter, appreciation over time and that monthly cash flow. And as a first time home buyer, because you reference first time home buyers, but sometimes people are coming to us, they already own a home, right? But as a first time home buyer, getting that low down payment option. So
Right.
you really can get into a multifamily for cheap.
100%.
And I would say more often than not, if you're buying in the city of Buffalo, the a second apartment will pay typically most of your mortgage. Not
Yeah.
to say you don't have other expenses that would need to be covered.
Well, taxes,
Well,
insurance, but
even
besides
if
that,
your
if you have separate.
yeah, even if your full mortgage payment is covered, right?
Yeah.
Um, it really depends on where you buy and what your taxes look like and stuff, and how much you're putting down, the price point, all that kind of stuff. But then you have your whole joys of home ownership, improvements, dealing with tenants, evictions.
Well, I know you have a lot of experience with that. So, when we're mentioning this earlier, what so would you recommend that to others? Like we're talking about right now?
It's a
Like,
lifestyle.
yeah,
It is a lifestyle.
yeah.
I bought my first home when I was 20, and it was a multifamily,
Well,
and it was in 2009. So, um, don't do the math on my age then. But, so it was right after the subprime mortgage crisis, and the houses were cheap, and it was a buyer's market, and it was a foreclosure, and everybody comes to you now, and they're like, "I wanna buy a foreclosure," and I'm like, "Good luck, because there's not a lot of them, and when there are, they're really bad." But
yeah,
this really wasn't bad. I got it for, um, 58,000.
amazing.
I had to do minimal cosmetic work to it, not I did have to put 2 new furnaces in, that first year, but, um, fine. Like, I mean, I had the capital to do that, and I sold it for more than it was, like, almost 4 times the amount that we bought it for, which we ended up using the 1031 exchange on. But
Oh, yeah.
before we sold it, we bought our second house, and renting out both units paid for a portion, not only that mortgage, but a portion of the mortgage on our next house.
Cool.
And then I refinanced it at one point, pulled my tax-free money out, which is this is now we're getting into the BRRRR method, right? Pulled my tax-free money out and bought another investment property with it, having to come out of my own pocket very little, right? So you really can scale.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think the way that you said, buying that first investment property, owner occupying it, um, offsetting with the other tenants, the income you're getting from the other apartment, and then scaling up into a single family at a later point or into another multifamily. I mean, as long as you're owner occupied, you get extra benefits with mortgages that it's a little cheaper. Investment loans are expensive these days.
Well, true. And I think just your experience being really special. I mean, that's phenomenal. You're 20 years old. You're buying, this is like another lifetime, 2009, when you could get,
Oh, it sounds old.
well, not like that, but I mean, just in terms of the market conditions, also you were 20,
Yeah.
okay? And you're investing in real estate, like way ahead of the game and into a foreclosure that you said you didn't have to do a lot of capital improvements and it just benefited you 100%. So I guess when I was thinking about where to start, I was thinking along those lines. When I'm talking to people, um, they are like investigating their circumstance like you were, when you're younger. What should I do? What direction should I go in? And sometimes, like with friends of mine, they've come to me and looked for their first, single family and however that ends up looking, what's most important a lot of times it is going to be the price point, the taxes. And that's why I felt like the city of Buffalo has been beneficial for multifamilies
Big
and for
time.
moving in and not needing to do a ton of work always, but
Are you noticing
things
that
turned out.
people are being kind of picky in terms of the house and not looking at the numbers? Because I often feel like I need to direct people, like, stop looking for so much perfection in the house and look at the numbers. Like, if this is a slam dunk,
What do you mean?
uh,
Like specific?
your overhead, your income versus your expenses. Like, if you have one that's cash flowing really well,
Oh, yeah.
like, it's like,
Last night.
stop looking for perfection. This is cash flowing well. Like, don't feel like you have so much pride, you don't wanna maybe invest in a neighborhood that's more up and coming, like, you're being closed-minded to, I don't know, the potential, the long-term potential.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have an offer that I need to send out today, and exactly what you're talking about, it didn't register until thankfully you explained it a little bit more. But 100%, and I don't know, I'm sometimes I consider if people that I'm referring to are gonna see this, but because it's pretty specific. It's a multifamily, like over 5 units, and the units are tight, they're small. I didn't have a chance to go, unfortunately, to see it myself, but based on the full description from my client, their downsized sides in exactly what you're talking about. The aesthetics and just aspects of the
Is
units.
it West Side?
No, it's not. It's suburbs, and, like, price per unit is really reasonable, and he was just kinda hating on the size of the fridge and the units and all this
Oh my
bonker stuff, and I'm just
lord.
like, and this is a group text. That'll probably lead into the other conversation that we're talking about with just, like, conflicting personalities and perspectives in one environment. This isn't a real life environment, this is a group chat environment, and if anybody knows me, they know I hate group texts. I just have a thing.
Do you?
I hate them. But anyway, lender and client, and the lender's whatever, he's putting in his 2 cents, which is helpful because it is a slam dunk like you're talking about. The return on investment is amazing. It's in
Yeah.
the suburbs, it's great. But he didn't like the size of the fridge. He didn't like the size of the basement, stuff like this. I'm like, bro, numbers, like you're talking about.
Well, if
So
he
yes,
doesn't want it, let me know.
I will. But we're gonna submit.
Is it
So
gonna be a multiple?
no, I don't think so.
How do you guide your like, if it was a multiple, how are you guiding your buyers to winning offers?
Do you want to start? I feel like I just talked for so.
I can.
You
So
tell me and then I'll
I'm
we'll
feeling
share
pretty
my piece.
defeated right now. I've lost so many offers
You're telling
recently.
me about the one that you just put in the other night.
$75,000 cash or over, I'm sorry, $75,000 over the asking price. Cash, no inspection. I just don't like it's so the number was obviously good, but not good enough because we weren't the highest. Cash, no inspection. I mean, in that case, terms didn't matter. Terms aren't going to matter n- always, depending on the house. If you're that far from the highest number. So putting a value on terms, I think, is what I often have to explain to buyers. Like,
Tell me.
if it's an immaculate house and you want a home inspection and there's an offer that's $10,000 lower and doesn't have a home inspection, they're probably going to take your offer because they're going to have to weigh, the sellers are going to have to weigh, do we think there's $10,000 worth of issues here or are we worried
Mhm.
about this deal falling apart from a home inspection, right? They're probably going to take your offer. Now, if it's a house that has a lot of questionable issues and there's a $10,000 difference, chances are they're going to take the lower offer with no
Mhm.
inspection, assuming the other terms are kind of apples to apples, right?
Right.
So putting a value on terms is a conversation that I have with my buyers as I'm submitting on every house, depending on the house, of course, right?
Okay.
Somebody might want a faster closing that may have value. It might be in a state where they're like, we don't want to move anything else out, and the buyer's willing to take on all the furniture that was left behind. So you're creating value, you're creating numbers within the terms.
Mhm.
Um, but it is defeating. It's so
It
defeating
definitely
right
can
now.
be. And that's a really pragmatic way to go about like the breakdown of value add or not based on the terms, which is
Yeah.
smart. Um I more recently I feel like with there's always the defeated, moments where you're working with clients, especially spring market. I think it is a different market right now
Mhm.
than it's been like last year, or I was comparing it to like 2021,
No, it feels like
which
a
was like
normal spring market to me. It's slower. Sorry.
so, but just in terms of like the buyers I'm working with, or okay, let's say in terms of number of offers, right? When interest rates were a lot lower and there were 35 offers on every single house and it was going for $75,000 over asking a lot of the time. And this is like 2021.
Yeah.
Now it's like 5 offers, $100,000 over asking on plenty of them too. So it's still like as competitive, even though there are less buyers in the market and interest rates are different, it's still like really competitive most of the time.
Yeah.
Again, if they're all the same stuff. applies, like, you're preparing your home well and you're pricing it right, right? So, recently though, and what I found interesting was I think, like, the last 2 or 3, buyers that had an accepted offer were not the highest offer, which you don't you can't and you never know what to expect, but you wanna go in, like you're talking about, educating your client, putting them in the best position, doing what you can do to get them what they want. And I could just go on forever because I'm having, like, flashbacks of all these conversations and stuff that we were talking about last night too, and just how to communicate that with your clients at times and how to just clarify things for them based on the way that they understand things sometimes is relevant, like we were talking about yesterday. And also, I think, like, above and beyond, which today seems above and beyond, whereas when I started selling real estate, 10 years ago, it wasn't. For example, showing up in person to present an offer, even though the price point of the house was not very
I used
high.
to love that.
I did it the other day,
I know.
and it
And
was
you won.
and we
I
won.
won almost every time I
That
presented
makes sense.
because I'm a great presenter.
Yep. And it's
Give me
worth
presenting back. No, I mean, it
so,
took so much more
but
time.
you can because all I did was ask.
Yeah, but that was with my love letters too. I'm also a graphic novelist.
Okay, so but, like, that's kind of a way to be able to present aspects about your client
No,
that
it
you
is.
cannot write,
You cannot write.
that you can
Or
express.
kind of like, yeah, you can with fair housing, you cannot be specific on certain aspects
Of the buyer.
of your
But with
buyer.
what they and I actually did it was helpful that the seller's agent, like, consulted me a little bit about this, where you can discuss what your client is looking to do with the house, not about what their number of
You
kids
could
they have.
discuss their job. You can discuss if they are new to Buffalo or relocated here. Yeah, there's a lot of areas that you're not hitting on fair housing, but yeah, you can't get into those things. But a lot of people just agents are a little bit shut off to it.
And time
Maybe lazy, maybe
of the
just
essence type stuff
don't
too.
want and to deal with any of that. They want the nuts and bolts presented, be done. I
Yeah.
mean, I will say relationships are everything in this industry, and I'm curious your thought on, like, when you have a relationship with an agent, how much sway you think that has, and, not, like, in a conflict of interest way, but, like, I've worked with this agent before, they
Benefit
know
of
I
interest.
cross my T's and dot my I's, they trust it that it might carry some weight if I'm close to another offer, they're gonna say, "We're going with Lauren's person," as or even, like, the attorneys, the bank, they're looking at all those things, and if they know and trust those things I've definitely sold it to my sellers before that, "Hey, this is a local bank. This is an attorney I've worked with who I know works very quickly." They answer the phone. It's not one who's gonna delay closing, like, and this agent, I've also worked with and trust, and they don't mess around with buyers who aren't serious or
Right. No, I think, like, to your point, one of the aspects that are a value add in any offer is peace of mind. I mean, across the board, that's really what you're trying to sell, which is everything that is not the number exclusively. But okay, how can we make sure that you're getting the sale price, how that we're getting to the finish line through all the pieces that you're discussing? And then two, like the other couple of instances where the client that was my client, that was not the highest offer, and the reason why the seller went with them, I think was one was that they were a local buyer. They weren't out of state. It wasn't a virtual tour. They saw it in person. They saw it in person more than once. And there was just the confidence in, like, the financial institution, and I try to be communicative without because I went with the one guy to an open house, and it was like every single box was checked for this house for this guy, and we were looking for, like, 2 years, I wanna say. A while, maybe not 2 years, like a year and a half at least. And it was everything, and the agent was there, and I was, like, so, like, thrilled for him, and I was, like, trying to keep it cool, just asking him questions and try not to be, like, annoying. But it ended up working out finally. It's just, like, a lot of these negotiations, like with commercial stuff, you expect it to take longer than, okay, 24-hour turnaround, but
18 months.
lately, it's just been, like, this a lot of extra waiting and just needing to be patient and, like, reassure clients, and I don't know.
How about when they're not, like, super ethical with how they handle the offer?
What do
I
you mean
yeah.
by that?
Oh, let me
I
tell
love
you.
these blanket questions, and I'm always like, "Okay, tell me exactly
Oh,
where
let me tell you exactly. I submitted an offer the other day. Um, 19 offers. Well, I
Mm,
should say this
mm,
was, like, through the team.
okay.
19 offers our buyer had, submitted on this house. Well, he didn't submit 19, he was one of 19.
Yeah.
And we were the highest, and there was a cash we were financing, and they were a little bit worried about appraisal. I was not. I did my research. I even provided the agent comps, and
Okay.
he would have done an appraisal guarantee, but why? There's comps. I don't wanna put that on him if I don't have to.
Okay.
The next best offer, he probably shouldn't have told me, but he told me, was cash, and it was, uh, eight 18, maybe 15 grand, lower,
Okay.
okay? He said it was a struggle with the family because the one was really hung up, wanted the cash, and he was trying to explain, like, even if this doesn't appraise, it would have to not appraise by 15 for you not to be ahead with this t so they took our offer,
Cool.
signed it, waiting for it to come in my email. He said late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, the next morning, waiting. "Hey, Lauren, we got 2 more offers in, and one of them is cash, pretty much almost identical to yours."
Yep.
Um I'm like, "Oh my goodness, we've already scheduled inspection,
Yeah.
like, he's gonna be devastated, we've already lost on, like, 7 or 8 houses." It's unbelievable, like, I feel so bad for him right now. So, they ended up taking the cash,
Okay.
pulling that out from underneath us, and then, we noticed a showing time email that went out that previous evening that said, "Hey, everybody, we had 19 offers, some of them were cash, and the highest one was all the way up to 275," which was our offer.
Okay. So you lied?
He didn't lie.
True.
He told everybody which offer he went with, how much it was. So you
So you
better
think that's
believe
unethical to share?
to share. Yeah, because then he just got more offers. Now, did it get the seller a better price? Absolutely. But why deny escalation clauses if you're going to go tell every other offer what you
Oh, wait,
got?
we didn't mention these parts.
And why accept the offer? Why not just go back to everybody and say, "Hey, I got 275. Does anybody want to go higher?" Why accept the offer, say I have it signed, tell me that, and then go back and tell everybody? That's playing games.
So he went, and this is the way that we're believing this happened, where they accepted your offer. He told everyone showing time. Some of those other 19, 18 offers came back. They raised a number. Well, it's a shorter way to get to everybody at one time to let them know. So, in terms of ethics, and I just recently took my 22 and a half
You're
hours.
not him, are you?
No, I mean, I like to play devil's advocate with you too, but like also I've been, of course, in situations like this when you're multiple offers, or on the other side, when this just happened with this other deal. They accepted his offer. It took 2 days. The guy's on vacation that people can't communicate. The couple has to have their back and forth. It's been 48 hours. Okay, we accept. The kid's sweating bullets. I tell him, yay, but we don't have the offer signed yet. And then another one comes in. Duh. That's just like the way it always happens. That's what I expect. So I never get excited until we have like attorney approval, we have deposit in, and we're at the closing
For
table.
sure.
But when it comes to the information that you're sharing, and when I was taking the 22 hours, and I'm learning because some of this stuff, like, I forgot
Your
after all
ethics,
of my studying.
yeah.
But when they say, or they being whatever, New York State and the bylaws that we are supposed to be following, I always thought exactly what you're saying. Like, it's basically shady business, as far as my perspective went, to share details with other agents about the particulars of the other offers. However, I'm working just like our agency disclosure agreement says, and I say it every single time I sign one with anybody, that this shows that I'm working in your best interest alone, not my friends, not my family, not my buddies, not any buyer, not my pocket, for you. So, if it's going to benefit my client, if you're on the other side of the table, I don't think you would have gone about it that way because it looks kind of like shit.
It
But
does, but why again, why not just go back to everybody and
maybe
say,
you're lazy. Maybe who knows? Maybe his kid had a baseball game. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying
my
sloppy
point,
practices don't look good, but
they don't look good, and this industry is entirely based on relationships, and I won't be able to advise my clients in good faith that working with him is gonna be a transparent situation moving forward. So
oh
it's
yeah.
like, yeah, he's tainted, gone. in my book. He's in the bad book. I got a bad book and a good book, and he's in the bad one.
How many people are in your bad book versus your good book?
Under 10, probably.
On which
I
one?
love a lot of people in this industry.
On which book?
Oh, my bad book is probably under 10, but I definitely have 10 that I just feel like I'm running through a field of needles when I'm around them.
So what about your good book? How many?
30.
Wow.
There's
30.
a lot of good agents, and then the rest are just in somewhere mishmashed in the middle.
30 in the good book. Am I in the good book?
Of course, on the first page.
Um, but no, and like to answer your initial question, I do believe that it's really relevant when I'm just going over offers with my client about the agents that are representing and like the confidence that we can get to closing. I really try to sell that. Like, I'm committed to get this one done with you. Team effort, like we always talk about.
You
What's our next topic, Lauren? What are we talking about?
underrated, misconceived types of financing. Just one. Owner holds.
Okay. Like,
Owner holds. I'm obsessed with creative financing, not like Pace
mm,
Morby creative financing, the sub two
okay.
stuff. But owner holds are an incredible opportunity that I feel like a lot of people overlook. For a buyer, significant savings in bank fees, right?
Okay.
Your only closing cost when you're um financing through the seller is going to be your attorney, maybe your home inspection. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Fast.
Okay.
And your down payment, of course, right?
Yeah.
Your down payment.
Well, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference, but depending on what you can get the rate and the terms to be, it can be incredible if you're buying a property that needs work and you have some capital to put down, but you want to save the money on the bank fees initially, and you're going to put that capital into the property, refinance with a bank, and balloon pay out this seller within a few years. You're in a really good spot, especially if you can if you can time it in a way that the rates are going to be lower than they are now, right? A lot of owners though are reluctant to do this. I think they have this misconception that you're a landlord and that you're dealing with a tenant when in reality, if you're working with an agent who understands this type of financing and an attorney who is able to write the note,
Mhm.
essentially you only act as the bank. You do not own the property, but you
Yep.
can structure it in a way where you can do a deed in lieu of foreclosure and literally take that property back like that if they in lieu of foreclosing, right?
So I just sent one out this morning, actually. Beautiful thing.
Well,
And I think you're totally right because it's taken well, it takes being savvy and being able to explain the benefits to your client so they're clear and understand versus like you're talking about misconstruing that they're going to be involved,
I don't
which
want
they
to be
don't
a
have to
landlord.
be.
Yeah.
And another great piece is you can negotiate your rate. Really, I mean, like all parts are negotiable.
All
That is
parts.
not really the case when you're working with a financial institution.
Balloon
Besides,
term,
we have to like pay a
ab
rate down or
term.
something.
Down payment,
Yeah.
interest rate,
Mhm.
all those negotiable,
It's
and
I'm sorry.
you go.
And no, you finish.
I forgot already.
You did?
I did.
I guess I'm really excited because this has kind of been a long time coming and whenever I shouldn't get excited. But sometimes I just let myself get excited when you get fully executed contract because you've just been waiting for so long
You
for
just have
something
to.
good. And it's like, okay, we know 90 things can happen between now and whatever 90 days from now, probably, because
I
this is a
remember.
commercial one. And I'm not going to bother. I'm going to be happy today.
You should be happy today. You deserve it. I was gonna say the last benefit is if to a seller, if you own a property that and it's an investment property and you're willing to hold, and in order to hold, you have to clear out any first mortgages, right? So if you still owe 50 grand on the property, the buyer's down payment is going to have to exceed that, or you're
Right.
going to have to come out of
Exactly.
pocket to pay the rest of that off. Typically you want to cover any remaining balance they have on the property plus their closing costs, right? Like to pay out the seller's closing costs, pay out the realtors, because seller's not going to want to come out of pocket to hold the mortgage for you. But
Right.
if it's an investment property, um, and they, hadn't thought about a 1031 exchange, you can really break up that tax, um,
What obligation?
Obligation, thank you. I'm like, I need a word there. Over an extended period of time, you're gonna pay um income tax on the interest you're earning off of it, but you can really break up your capital gains a little differently.
Cool. Another great point.
Mm, just
You're so smart.
food for thought.
Especially, it's not just the glasses.
Why are you so
It's
complimentary?
real. Because I love you. I was really thinking about that because I mentioned, I don't know if it's like faux pas to talk about looking at other recordings of us, but I never do. And I did yesterday. And it's just cool to have genuine chemistry with a friend.
Yeah.
And also, like we've talked about a lot before, and this is just a side note, same team, no necessity in competition. And that's like through and through. I feel like you and me
Yeah.
because it's never been that way. We've been in the same industry. I think we were at the same brokerage briefly. We are not now, and we can sit here and talk shop and have a great time and call each other for help. And there's never a conflict. And that is a rare and beautiful thing,
Have
I
we
think.
ever done a deal together?
We did
We did.
on that one street off of Englewood in 2016 when Parker was born, and we sold it. And that was the one where we had to paint the
Yeah, but we were never
garage.
on the opposite side of a deal.
No, we were never on the opposite side of the deal ever.
This
Those
is sad.
well, I don't think we're not in the exact same markets all the time,
No,
honestly.
we're not, but
We're really not.
I'm gonna manifest a deal this year.
I was gonna do the same thing,
Thank
so
you.
inevitably. Are you doing ASMR?
We were practicing before.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, a little bit.
I love ASMR.
You do.
I have to go to sleep to ASMR
Yeah, it's like a
sometimes.
50-50 across the
What?
board. You either like it or you
Oh
don't.
my god. I don't like when they
To fall
tap.
asleep. Yeah, a lot
I
of people are
hate
saying that.
tapping. It's so annoying.
I do like food ones.
Ew.
I picture the pasta getting dumped into the water.
Okay, something like that, fine. I don't know about people eating food.
Ew, absolutely
sounds
not.
real.
No, I can't even. But the crunch, people are with the
I was thinking about trying to do like ASMR for real estate a couple years ago, but I didn't get that far.
the key in the door. What else? The clicking of the light switch. Can we do this, please?
What else would be like soft, like fluffing a pillow?
Faucets
I
turning on.
don't know if we could get that far with.
I
You're really creative.
I just
I
like.
believe you could come up with the perfect ASMR reel.
Are you challenging me?
Well, I want to do it with you though.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
figure out
go
too.
to a house. We'll do it all.
Was there anything else we wanted to cover before?
I
We
got
have
a
a
few
few
things, but I'm
minutes.
okay with them overlapping. Um, I got I want to talk about funny open house stories.
You always want to talk about funny. You have so many. I don't. They're not fun. I hate open houses. I just
I actually love open houses.
oh
I
wow.
don't. I mean, I don't like spending my weekends working. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I say that and also complain about whatever, but when it comes to like engaging with somebody that you come across or
Are
like
you
on an
an
appointment,
introvert?
I don't know. I'm a high D.
What am I again?
You're a DI. I'm a DI.
Oh, we talked about this yesterday.
We're talking about the disc assessment.
The
Random.
disc
It's not really that random. I think it's relevant.
Have you taken Myers-Briggs?
I don't think so.
No.
I might have.
Good one.
Will you send it to me?
We should put
But I
that
thought
on
it
an
was
episode
interesting
guide.
too that we're both like very similar in that way, but we can work together really well.
I think there's a
Almost like
science behind like which letters.
work best together. Yeah, but I don't think it's
Do
the
you know
same in
why I need more D?
I know, right?
Do you know why
Sorry.
I need more D in my life?
Why?
Um, I need more D's. Multiple
I get
Ds.
it. And D stands for we gotta know this.
Dominance?
Yes. Dominance and influence is I.
Yeah. So I think because I come across like confident, a little brash, and a little like
That's
a
right.
lot of people, yeah, a lot of people when they first meet me are, I hate it too. I hate um in like intimidating people with my presence coming off as a bitch. Like, but I do, and I don't know why. I'm just there, and it's just I am who I am, and I think like owning who I am can come off as like I'm a jerk. But then when they get to know me, they're like, yeah, that's obviously not it.
Right.
But that's why I think I click with the D's right off the bat is because If you're a D,
They
you
get it.
usually have that confident, assertive personality to go with it, so
Yeah, but the listening piece, slowing down, listening. Not saying you, I'm talking about me, and
no,
just, like, looking at it
okay, I'm always
from other
I'm
perspectives and,
still
like,
doing it.
this communications I know. I was like it's funny, though. But we get our points across to each other, and I
We
feel
can
like it
talk at
really
the
ends
same
up, like,
time as each other
flowing
and still listen to the
really
other
well.
person saying,
Well, I'm sad so, are we, like, done?
"We're done.
Oh, we are?
We
It
gotta
went
wrap it
so
up."
fast.
I know. Well, because we
Okay,
only did the one today.
okay.
So,
We're gonna do this again.
we're gonna do this again. Episode 5,
I have
we'll
so much
see
more to talk
Emily
to you
and
about
Lauren.
and learn
Mm.
from you on
Put it in my calendar.
okay.
See you in a month.
Can't wait till next time.
No, I wanna go get juice.
Me too.
Alright.
Okay.
Well, let's go do it.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.